Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It's a beautiful day outside. Hopefully we can get you home tonight before the rain starts. Calvin is going to have a microphone for the question and answer section. He will come to you with the microphone so everyone can hear clearly what your question is, and then we will do our very best to answer that question for you.
How do I know that my iPhone is backed up?
Okay, so my understanding is you want to know how your phone is backing up.
No, I don't want to know
But
if it is backed up. I don't know.
Oh, if it is?
I don't know whether it is or it isn't.
Okay, so the easy question or answer for this question would be if you're using iCloud for doing backups, you would just go into Settings, iCloud. Yep, pull your phone up. Everybody else can follow along.
This is going to be a long presentation.
Pretty much. So in your phone, go to Settings.
He's in Settings.
Okay.
Oh, I am in settings.
Then you're going to go to iCloud. For you on the older iOS, you'll have to scroll down to get to iCloud. For everybody that is current, it's right up at the top of Settings.
Okay, he's in iCloud.
Okay? So when you get to iCloud, scroll down a little bit to where it says iCloud Backup. Is it turned on? It'll say on or off. It does say on. Tap on that. Not the button, but just the whole panel. When you get to there, it will tell you when your last backup was.
Oh,
So what time was your last backup?
yesterday, well, this morning, three minutes after dinner.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So that's how you can verify that your backup has actually occurred. Okay. If you do not see a backup there, make sure you're connected to Wi-Fi before checking it, because it won't show you anything if you're not on Wi-Fi. iCloud backups typically happen middle of the night, in this case 3 minutes after midnight, while your battery is over 50% or your phone is charging, and that you are on Wi-Fi. Those are the two stipulations. Power has to be over 50% and you've got to be on the Wi-Fi.
Why does it, okay, this, why do you have to, in updating, why do they have to have, why does it have to be plugged in overnight, or if they're doing it overnight?
You mean an update?
Yeah,
The updates, they want you to be plugged in because they don't want the phone to lose power halfway through the update, because then you will be a very unhappy person. Because, yeah, with a brick.
yeah, even though it's got like 75.
Right, belt and suspenders.
And the other
That's where they're going with
the
it.
other thing is during that backup thing that's going on, you may have 75% of power. Let's say that you have a pause in your internet service, and so it breaks the connection for that while. God knows how long that might be before it reconnects again. I have continuous power on here, that doesn't come back at all.
Is that good for you? Great. Okay. That also works the same on your iPad, or if you have a current generation iPod Touch, same situation. And that's how that works. Next, show of hands. Well, give me a second here. Let me look at my iPad Pro. You're on what version of the operating system? Are you on iOS on 10.3?
932.
Okay. If you're in 9.3.2, you'll have to scroll down a little further to where you see iCloud. Scroll down in there. So it worked. Fantastic.
Sold.
So if you are on the current version of the iOS for your iPhone or your iPad, iCloud is at the top of that settings list instead of further down the list.
If I remember right, when we went to 10 point, that's when we went to the top of the list.
Yeah, I think actually it was 10.2, but I could be wrong. So, do we have any other questions? Okay.
State your name and your question.
Jack, and I have in my hand here a failed Fujitsu drive from my MacBook Pro, and thank God I was saved by a time machine backup, so that I could back up my files. But unfortunately, the person who set me up originally on my backup was thinking something different when we had our setup. So I did not back up my applications, but I got my data backed up.
Okay.
So everything is on here, and on this failed drive. And I'm wondering if anybody has some suggestions that are not too expensive that I can recover something from here.
So you have a two-part question. Can you get it, and can you get it cheap?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the question is, yes to the first part, no to the second part. It
can be a science project.
That's true. Does the drive mount if it's connected? Does it even mount up and show on a computer?
I don't think it does.
Okay, so if it's not mounting up, then you're probably dealing with severe hardware issue with it. Drivesavers.com would be my suggestion if you really need stuff off of that, but it starts at $1,200.
Okay.
It would be easier to just find those applications and reload them again.
That would be preferable.
Okay.
$1,200, but I'm thinking of, well, somebody who knows something, who maybe who wants to take something on, and.
Didn't you say you had a time machine backup?
Yeah.
My time machine backup had applications accepted from it. So, you know, they say, well, whoever set me up says, well, don't worry, you know, you can always back up your applications from your disks. This will save space on your external hard drive.
Oh, no.
So,
That was poor advice.
Get them to pay for the drive savers.
You had a,
Yeah, I had a suggestion. Mac professionals who spoke with us some 4 or 5 months ago, Mac professionals.
right,
Will work on your drive. They can recover whatever stuff off of it. They charge you $150. If they can't recover it, they'll say, well, nice try, and only charge you $75 for the work they put in.
right.
There's also,
But they are at 14 Mile and Orchard Lake Road in the Hunter Square Plaza. I like the idea. I didn't suggest it because you said the drive didn't mount. Now, they can run software to see if they can maybe force it to mount. So is 75 bucks or 150 bucks in your budget?
I was hoping for 100 or less.
Okay, then reload your applications. I think that's probably going to be the best way, because if the drive is failing, there is a possibility that that data is corrupted. So if they try to pull those apps over, you may end up having to reload it fresh anyways. So, but if you want to take it over there, I'm sure that they'd be happy to look at it. I believe their hours are Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Mac Professionals. Right, and if you go to macprofessionals.com, that's their website, and you can get a phone number and give them a jingle before heading over there. You're welcome.
Dave,
Yes,
there is also a place in Southfield, just off 8 Mile in Inkster, I believe.
there is.
Yes, I have taken drives over there. I had a total failure, and it cost $600 on the one that I took over. And they're a national company.
Okay. Who are they?
That was a number of years ago, when my memory was much better.
Okay,
One other thing I'd like to say,
sure.
along with Terry, you can't do too many backups. And you'll back up everything, or it's not a backup.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you found out the hard way.
there's one other place in Southfield, in the office park on Melrose, near the FedEx, between,
That's the one.
is that the one?
That's the one.
I think they're called data recovery services, I think it's the name of the company.
Well, that was a generic term for what they do, but.
Well, if we can find the name of it, we'll put it in the meeting recap.
They did a good job.
Kelvin, who's the expert on backups around here and rules for it? I've dabbled in the dark arts once or twice. And the rule, don't try to save disk space for your backups.
This is true.
Yeah, and if you're not going to back up the whole drive, don't even bother me at all, because everything on that drive is something that we're not logging, don't get us wrong here. But everything on that drive is important to you, so back up the whole thing in the future instead of just part.
What I'm wondering is, if, you know, you don't add applications all the time. So if you do like a full hard backup one time with the applications, the whole works, everything once, and then you do the data backup, so that you've got your applications on there already. You don't have to keep backing up your applications again and again and
But you're not.
If you use.
Unless, the only way you would be backing it up again is if you had updated one of the applications, then you would get the update only, but it does not repeat the backup every single time. Time Machine only looks for new items that have been added to the computer. So new photos, new documents, or new software, which includes updated software.
Or any documents you change.
Yeah,
Correct,
it does the entire
right.
backup of the drive.
Yeah, it does not repeat your backup every single time because you'd burn through that hard drive in a flash. That's the beauty of Time Machine. It just grabs everything that you knew that you've added to the machine or updated. And that's where it is. Your friend trying to be well-meaning about, well, let's save you space on that external, definitely did you a disservice on that one. But I would say, I mean, how many programs are you talking about trying to bring back?
well.
Is it software that you can't get access to?
No, I can, it's just, in some cases, it could be expensive, because I had like Adobe Creative Suite, which is pretty
Okay.
expensive, and I got a legal copy from a friend who had, you know, he could do it on 4 machines, and he did it on his own machine, and it.
Okay, so I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not gonna say anything about legal copies that a friend gave you. But if you have access to that installer disk, you can put it back on your computer. You can use the same code that was there. I have this conversation daily with customers and explain to them, yes, your hard drive died. You had Microsoft Office on there. Okay, just re-download it again and type in that 25-digit code they gave you, and you're good. Because you can, with quote marks, legally erase it off your computer and reload it back on the same computer every day if you really felt the desire to do that. I mean, it seems like a waste of time, but you could, because once you've licensed it to that machine, it knows that machine is okay to have it. So the copy of Creative Suite that you had on there, if your friend will give you the software to reload back on, that is already known as a legal copy. If it is a new machine, you then have to contact the manufacturer of that software and say, okay, I had it on this one, it's dead, I'm moving it over to this one. And they give you the blessing and you're on your way.
So, I mean, I can do it, it's just a pain in the ass.
It is. Your friend owes you dinner, and an expensive dinner, at the very least. So feel free to let them know that there's a very large group of people that have your back on this one, and that they owe you dinner for all that work you're gonna go through, or maybe that they'll go through. There's a thought.
And ask us, not
This was a long time ago when I got the thing set up.
Okay, but at least you had it, you've got the majority of your stuff,
Yeah.
the important things.
I got my
Yeah, that's important.
yeah.
Okay.
I had to, the drive totally failed, and I bought a brand new drive at Micro Center, and this time, instead of getting the rotating better. I got a solid state drive.
Oh, you'll like that.
And for $50 more, I got twice as much capacity, so. I'm
Smart
good.
move.
And I got the extended warranty also,
Okay.
so.
Now, here's one other check I gave you too. So now you got twice as much capacity, but you're probably gonna fill it up, but you get twice as much capacity for a backup drive.
No, I still have a large external,
Okay.
backup drive that I haven't even, got a tiny amount on.
So when you start your new time machine back up after all the applications are back on, just make sure nothing's unchecked.
Right, there you go.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think we have a question from this.
That young lady behind?
Just a statement. I know it might sound a little bit, overly cautious, but I do have 3 backups at home.
Only 3?
Only 3, that's all I need. I know my major.
Are you sure that's all you need? Because I don't think that's overly cautious.
Well, I don't know, I have a crash plan,
Okay.
which I love because I have had to retrieve some serious stuff.
Sure.
Years ago that I thought I had lost. And I have a copy corner,
Okay.
and I have a regular time machine.
Fantastic.
So that's how I sort of I feel secure knowing I can reach out to any one of these and grab what I need. I don't know if you're doing it.
I don't have all the same. You're in the cloud too, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
but that isn't going to retrieve maybe some very valuable information that crash and it'll have those apps. It'll have all my software, all my ID. Where time machine might only be not getting everything that I need, or it can collapse at the very last second and I'm back for it. So
Sure.
I decided to take on a little bit more than I usually years ago.
Well, congratulations for having the foresight to have multiple backups. That is just an amazing.
I'm not,
Oh.
I'm not gonna push this too much further, Dave.
Yeah, we're gonna move on.
But I think the big thing, and he's a perfect example of what it's all about, is how much is the data on your drive worth to you? That will make a difference on how many backups you do, or how much that you need to back up, or whether or not you're willing to spend $600 or $700 to get that data back. So you have to make that decision. Once you figure that out, then you make up a backup scheme that makes sense.
We had a question up front and then Lou.
Yes, my name's John, and I do backups occasionally. But my question is this: I use Super Duper, and I have old Macs with the old PowerPC chips.
Okay.
Is there like a simulation program? Say, if I back it up with the Super Duper, can I take it to a newer computer and maybe run a simulation for the old PowerPC chips without buying new? I have, let's say, MYOB and FileMaker Pro, that kind of thing. Is there? If I get a computer that has, say, those updated programs, can I get my data switched over?
That's what I thought.
Generally, what happens is this, okay? So let's say you've got a bunch of stuff that you backed up on a G4 class machine using old PowerPC using software version 2. So now you're going to buy a brand new machine. It's an Intel machine. And all these manufacturers make that software that runs on that machine. You want to know if you get your data from there to there. Is that the question? Yes. You need to check with each one of those manufacturers and say, I have this version of your software, I'm going to this version of the software. How do I get the data from there to there? They're either going to give you one or two quick answers. You're either going to say, you do this, this, and this to be able to get there, which might include incremental steps in different versions of the software. We're going to tell you there's no way to get there. But the best way to find out is to check with the manufacturer, number one, to make sure they're going to be able to even have a program that runs on the new version, and then whether or not you can import the data to it.
Yeah, and as far as an emulator to let you run that older software, I doubt it. I really, really doubt it. I know before, a few years ago, we had a few members that had some old AppleWorks files that they wanted to save. Pages will open up an AppleWorks file, only if it was saved in AppleWorks 6. This member had AppleWorks 4. So her workaround, if she wanted to get those documents, was to find somebody that had AppleWorks 6 on a computer that was still running, import them into there, save them as AppleWorks 6 files, and then export them, and then open them up in Pages. So you're doing a whole lot of steps to get to those files. As far as the software itself goes, typically when someone upgrades and moves their data from, say, their PowerPC machine to an Intel machine, all the programs that were PowerPC based end up with a prohibitory symbol over them, meaning they can't run in Intel. There were programs that were known as universal that could work both ways, and that was great back in 10.5 and in 10.6. But then everyone made the jump forward to the Intel-based software, and so the PowerPC support, I don't know of any of the software manufacturers that are still supporting anything in PowerPC because it's been so long. I mean, that was 2006. So 11 years later, I doubt you're going to get a yes answer out of any of those software manufacturers, even if they're still around, because a number of them are either been absorbed by other companies or they've shut down. So it's always best to try and save your stuff in the most current version if it's truly important to you, so you have access to it in the future. Another way on an older machine that I had suggested to some people was if there was a way you could save it as a PDF file, at least you'd have that document that you could look at. You might not be able to manipulate it, but you could at least look at it. And that might be all you need, it might not. So I'm sorry not to give you a more positive answer. I really would like to, but I don't think there's one in the future for you.
Yeah.
Yes?
There is a website, zamzar.com, zamcar.com, that will take a lot of documents and change them to a different format.
Okay.
Convert a lot of them. And I've been able to do that with some of the older documents from, some of the older software that's no longer.
Okay. On a percentage basis of success?
I've run into maybe one or two documents that they could. Sometimes the formatting will get screwed up a little bit, but
Okay.
But it doesn't cost anything, and it's one of those things you upload your document, tell them what format you want it, and if it can do it, it will tell you, and it'll do it, and then send you a link to download the new document.
Okay.
But I've used it a few times with good success.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear.
What was that?
Zamzar.
ZAMZAR.
ZAM?
ZAMZAR.
We will have notes from the meeting as well.
Right, it'll be in the recaps.
Information about that as well. Can't remember over here, Dave.
We've got Lou's waiting patiently,
Okay, that's right.
and then you're next.
You didn't say it. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, regarding what you were saying, doing it into a PDF, would you be able to paste it, copy it and paste it to another document?
Well, you could drop it in as an image, but if you wanted to go in and edit it, then you might be stuck.
Right, but what I'm saying is take the PDF, turn it into a PDF, then cut and paste the PDF into Pages or whatever. Wouldn't you be able to do it that way?
It's still a PDF.
Unless you have something like Acrobat Pro that allows you to take a PDF apart, but it only will be able to take that PDF apart predicated on how it went in the first place. If it went in as an image, it's only going to come out as an image.
If it's a text PDF image, not, preview, will let you manipulate text.
That's true, but
If it's-
since because it's older software, there's a lot of ifs, I think,
Yeah.
on, whether it would be successful. Yes, sir.
I want to mention a problem I recently had with my iMac last week. I just updated to the latest operating system,
Okay.
and after that, the A key on my keyboard wouldn't work.
That's the Fonzie effect?
Maybe the A. But in any case, I tried everything under the sun, couldn't get it to work. I ended up taking it to the Apple store in
Right.
Somerset.
Okay.
And the genius, the guy there spent over an hour there with me. And I'm really grateful for the help he gave me, considering it was out of warranty. But it turned out it tracked down to an old piece of software I was using that they had recommended here, called Mousposé.
Okay.
It's the one that puts a spotlight on the screen.
Sure.
And apparently that no longer works with the newest operating system. We deleted Mousposé and now my A key works.
So did you contact the software manufacturer to ask if they had a newer version available?
No, I did not. As far as I know, that was the newest.
Okay.
System. But in any case, if anybody still uses that.
Well, thank you for bringing that up, because that's one more thing that if I see that in my store, then I can say, okay, let's look for this.
What system did you have for that?
10.12.3. The brand newest one just came out last week.
Sierra?
Yes.
Sierra?
Yes, Sierra.
Right. Just curious, because I have Mousposé, works fine on say Sierra. So Sierra broke a lot of stuff.
The latest version of Sierra is giving people some fits
Okay.
here and there with software, because some of the things that they've added to it in the most current update, a lot of the software manufacturers, this was their, you work or you don't. And it sounds like Mousposé?
Mousposé.
Okay, it sounds like that is one of the ones that is having the struggle as well.
I was very grateful to the care that this guy took of me. Again, I was out of warranty. I suppose they could have charged it. You'd never get that kind of service at a Best Buy or any other store. An hour he spent with me tracking this down.
Right. How old is your iMac?
How old is it? It's 15 months.
Okay, so you're just outside of warranty. So the Genius Bar at all Apple stores will do their best to help you, whether you're in warranty or outside of warranty. If there are a couple of guidelines that they go by, when a computer is more than 5 years of age, it joins what's called the vintage list. The vintage list means that Apple no longer supports hardware on that device. The only caveat is if you bought it and live in California, because California law requires electronic manufacturers to maintain parts and service for 7 years. So after 7 years goes by, the computer joins the obsolete list. That means they can't offer repair services, and they also don't offer software at that point. However, I loaded 10.4 on someone's computer the other day on their PowerBook. So there are people in the stores that can help, but it's not every store will go that far. So I'm very happy to hear that person helped you and did the deep dive to figure out what it was going on, why it wasn't working, and that they were able to discover what it was and solve it for you. That is fantastic. Okay. And now on to our main presentation. Thank you for your patience. Yes. Start early, start often. All right. today's meeting is about passwords and security. This is a very large number. So, 2.6 billion accounts were compromised in the last year. That is data breaches all over the place where people were able to get information and passwords. So, at the very least, updating your password on a regular basis is a wonderful thing to do. I know that there are a lot of people that in our area work for the automotive companies. I'm seeing this now with a lot of people that also work in medical facilities where they are forced to update their password every 90 days, whether they want to or not. And that is just all along the lines of security. And with that being said, why do we need them? Do you have an email account? You have a password. Do you take online classes? You have a password. Do you shop online? You have a password. Do you handle banking tasks online or any other financial situations? You definitely have a password. Are you a member of an online group? Everyone in this room can say yes, because you're a member of MacGroup Detroit. So everyone takes for granted, oh, I'm going to set up my email, I'm going to make it an easy password so I don't forget it. All right. Then suddenly they're taking an online class, or they're just taking a certification online. Well, they make you create an account and come up with a password. And now they're making you come up with a difficult password. If you shop online, I shop on Amazon. I don't know about you. I'm not real crazy about having my account compromised because my password was too simple, because that happened. And so now I have a very difficult password on purpose, because somebody bought a very nice 60-inch TV on my Amazon account. Yeah. Luckily, Amazon saw that, contacted me, and said, this isn't even shipping to your state. Did you buy somebody a TV? No, I didn't.
You got kids out of state?
I have one, but this was not that state. So it was fantastic that I got contacted. So the reasons of data breaches are, there are bad people in the world. And unfortunately, there's a lot of them. And they're out there looking for every little way to do something. In the ever-famous line, you know, if they put as much energy into doing something good instead of something bad, well, yeah, but they're lazy. That's why they're doing this. And being a member of an online group such as MacGroup Detroit, you know, if you use the IBBS, you log in with your ID and your password. I'm guessing most people here have probably never changed their password for the group. And we've been pretty secure. But that doesn't mean that you should be comfortable saying, oh, that password I created 10 years ago, or 5 years ago, or last year, is good. And the big reason is, if your password for the IBBS and your banking and your email are all the same, that's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Because now you have just, once somebody guesses it, they now have full reign.
Taxes online should be on the list. The IRS contacted that.
Right. Yep. Well, I put that under banking, figuring that would just be under financial. But you're right, that's another thing. Okay, so with your password, there are a lot of things to consider. How easy is your password? Everybody wants it to be easy. I don't blame you. It makes sense. Simple to remember? Hey, yeah, that makes it easy. Is it a common word? Yeah, so I won't forget it because it's simple and easy. Your birth date? Yeah, I know my birth date. Okay, who else does? Your favorite item. I can't tell you how many passwords I've come across where it's Red Wings 1, Tigers,
Lost.
picking out just sport teams, or their favorite things. Yeah, no, I haven't seen a Lions. It's weird. You would think by now. I have seen Green Bay Packers, but I haven't seen the Lions. And this is why. Are you this person? I did this for Phyllis. Right, that's the password for her luggage. So this is from the movie Spaceballs. And they were asking what was the password. And the statement was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And someone said, that's a stupid password. Who came up with that? And Mel Brooks, oh, that's the password I use on my luggage. Okay. Okay, so Terry did this once before, and I went in and found the top 5 worst passwords of last year, because there's a company that follows it to see what's a good password, what's a bad password. Number 1, yet again, is password. Number 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. An inventive one is QWERTY. I actually figured this out on someone's computer that was in for service, and the hint was keyboard. Really? And boom, I was in. Took me all of 10 seconds. If that didn't work, I was going to try Dvorak, but QWERTY was an easier one. Log in. Really? And welcome. Okay. So, why are they bad? If I have to explain, not a great idea. None of these are good. Yes, they're simple, they're easy, you won't forget it. But it's also very easy for someone else to guess it. Or if someone's using a program to try and, brute force your way through, they're the top 10. Not going to take them long to guess it. And then variations on a theme. So 1 through 0. Because, hey, that's the whole row up across the top of the keyboard. They're just numbers, they won't get that. All right, well, I won't use the whole row. I'll just go 1 through 8. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. Or for the people that are very clever, password 1. Or password, but the O is a 0. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. Welcome 1, just as bad as welcome. Or they do their numbers in reverse. Because, well, who's going to guess it going 0 to 1? A computer program will guess it, because it's going to try it all different ways. So, these are ones that people have told me that they felt were very clever. So, the first one is that top row of numbers with the caps lock on. All the way across. The second one I thought was sort of unique, but it's certainly not safe. So ZAQ1 is just running up the keyboard on the left side. If you think about typing it in, you're like, oh yeah, nice and simple, done. Or, let's do QWERTY, but let's add UIOP. We'll get that full keyboard effect in there, because they won't guess it that way. Programs will. I have seen a lot of 111111. Now it's 121212, or other variations of that. Replacing the O with a 0 is actually a horrible idea, because there's something known as leaked, or LEET information, that these programs that try to figure out what the password is, they look for that now. So maybe in the 90s it was a good idea, but now it's not. So it can seem clever, but for the most part, it really isn't very clever at all. It's just going to allow somebody that is trying to run a program to guess that. And the people that are running the program, they have all the time in the world to just let that program run and try and guess your password. Which is a great reason why two-step verification can help prevent that. Because let's say they do guess your password. If you have two-step verification turned on, it's going to send something to one of your other trusted devices to allow you into that. iCloud uses two-step verification now to make sure that when you restore from a backup, it's really you restoring your backup to your device. If you came into an Apple store and had your phone replaced, and you have that iCloud backup like Ken has, if you have enabled two-step verification on there, when you get the new phone, or you upgrade to a newer model, and you restore from that backup, with two-step verification, it's going to make that extra effort to make sure it's really you at that phone restoring your backup with all your personal information to a new device. What happens, you would log into your iCloud account, you put your password for your iCloud account in. Okay, that's a good step. If you have enabled two-step verification, the next step is, okay, we need to send a 6-digit code to one of your trusted devices. Okay. It will come to that new device if the device has been activated, as in has cellular service. If it's an iPad, it will send the code to your phone. And if you've ever seen a message pop up on your device saying, hey, your Apple ID is being used in boom, this area, you have the choice of saying allow or not allow. If you say allow, then you'll get that 6-digit code, you put that in the other device, and it will start bringing your information back down to that device. If this is a phone that you're doing it on, as long as the phone's been activated, if the number doesn't come immediately to that device, which it usually doesn't, you can tap on there and say, call me, or you can tap, text me a code. In the new version of the operating system, on 10.3.1, now it will let that code come down to your phone for you, and it'll just populate in the 6-digit area for you automatically, which makes it a lot easier to get back up and going again. Because if you don't have that other device with you that you can log into, that's the downfall of two-step verification. So by having another device handy, it's a good start. Calvin?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, but one thing that you need to watch out for with two-step verification, especially with Apple and Apple products, is that if you have two-step verification set up for your iCloud account and you have one set up for iTunes, if you don't remember the proper thing between the two, sometimes you get them mixed up. I had a person who was giving me information for their iTunes account when the two-step was actually looking for stuff for their phone. So you want to keep aware of that type of situation as well.
True.
There's a way to merge it together.
Well, a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people do use the same ID for iCloud as well as for iTunes. That's very convenient. However, in certain situations, like say in a company or my own wife, when I set up iCloud when we finally got her on an iPhone, and I set up the iCloud account using the Apple ID that I use for iTunes, as well as for my iCloud, it took all of her contacts and merged them with my contacts. That did not go well, because all the contacts that my wife has are, as she referred to it, privileged information for work, and that I needed to delete them off my phone immediately. If I deleted them off my phone, it would delete them off her phone. So, what we did, we signed her out of iCloud. I then deleted all the contacts off of there. She left the contacts on her phone, along with mine, and then we both spent the next hour delete, delete, delete. And that is one of the things where in a family situation, it's always good to have separate iCloud accounts instead of the same one. A lot of people will share the same iCloud account because, hey, I got nothing to hide. Okay, that's cool. That is great, because all your text messages that you get, she can see. All the text messages she gets, you can see. If you guys are okay with that, not a problem in the world. But if you're getting messages that are work-related, that are privileged information, that's a problem. We also got that a lot at the store with moms coming in saying, I'm getting all my kids' text messages. Yes, because you're sharing that one account between 5 people. And did you realize that your kids are getting all of your text messages? Yeah. So
doesn't work very well.
it doesn't really work very well at all, especially if people in the relationship are wandering. Because we had someone come in saying, how do I copy all this information because that lying son of a gun is cheating on me? Yeah. Oh, yes. The giggles were there, not in front of them, but because they were quite steamed. And that's probably the polite way to put it. So that is a reason. One, separate accounts are great for iCloud because your iCloud wants to work with FaceTime and messages. So if you can keep all that stuff separate, that's fantastic. But then again, using the same password on both those accounts is probably not a good idea either. So to this day, I have no idea what my wife's password is for her iCloud account. None. She knows mine because mine is the same for iTunes as it is for iCloud. Because by sharing the iTunes account, I download something, she has access to it on her devices. She can put it on or she won't. I ended up with a Christmas song on my phone that I had no idea how it got there last November, only to realize that my wife, for the first time ever, bought a song in iTunes. So that's a feature that you can turn on and off in there as well. But as far as passwords go, she tells me her password is written down in an envelope, and if she dies, I can open that envelope. Okay, that is actually not a bad idea. And we're going to have someone in a future meeting talking about things like that. So I encourage everyone to be here for that meeting. Yes,
Yeah, so if all you have is just a Wi-Fi and you don't have anything cellular, can you use second verification?
yes. Yes, you can. The verification will work whether you're, you know, if you have a cell phone, you have cellular service. If you have an iPhone, and that's where it would be. If you had a flip phone, then it doesn't mean anything to you at all.
But if you don't have any cellular system at all,
You don't need the cellular system for that, you need the Wi-Fi. But to activate, say, an iPhone, you need a cellular account, an active one. And that. But I've had people come in with just an iPad, that's all they have. They don't have a computer, they have a flip phone, but they have a brand new iPad, and they turned on two-step verification. We show them how to turn it off, because two-step verification is great for you to maintain your privacy, but it's really, I think, designed more for people who have multiple devices. So that way they can get an alert on a different message or on a different device saying someone's trying to use your Apple ID. And gee, I'm not in China. I don't know anybody in China that knows my Apple ID. I'm not going to allow this. And that helps Apple keep the security game up and to help prevent, bad things from occurring.
Yeah, but even if you've only got two items and one of them is a flip phone,
Sure.
the flip phone can still get the text, so why not use two-step verification?
The flip phone won't get the text if your Apple ID is not associated with it. So if you don't, while you can get a text message, it's looking for the messages program.
But if when you set up two-stage verification, you put that as a trusted phone,
You can do that.
it'll work.
Okay. And you've done this?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect then. I appreciate you passing that along. So with that being said, that could work. But the people that come in with just an iPad and they have two-step on because it prompted them to set it up, but they didn't know what they were doing, typically their phone number is not a trusted number in the system. But since it works, I appreciate that knowledge. That helps me. So thank you very much. So, Jim?
I just wanted to go back a little bit to your business about having separate accounts, especially with iDevices. If you're trying to use Find My Friends or Find My iPhone, and all the devices have the same account on them, it's really difficult to figure out who's where and why. And by the same token, your text messages go all over the place. He wants to send a note to his wife wants to send a note to her daughter, but neither he nor her daughter has any particular interest in the messages. But when she sends a message to her mom, it goes to his phone because he tried to make life simpler by having one account. And that's not to mention just the different lifestyle where mother and daughter are texting about every 5 minutes, and he texts once every couple days. So even the desktop is cluttered differently. So you've got to consider all those things. And that's actually security for other things, including peace in the household.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So what is a good password to use?
Correct, Horace. Battery stable.
The best password you can use, from what I've learned, is a password that doesn't make sense. So incorrect, it would not be a good choice, but it is a good hint.
So, actually, at University of Michigan, they used to have a computer system called MTS, and you type the wrong password, it said, password incorrect, and we found out that a lot of people use, that was their password, was the word incorrect.
Truly.
And they would say, yes, truly, and they would say, see, the computer tells me what the password is.
All right then. Okay, so safe and secure suggestions for passwords. Chuck Friedman, one of our members, brought this up a long time ago. And at first I thought, boy, that's just overkill. But now it's making more and more sense. Use a password phrase. Create a simple phrase that only makes sense to you. So, Chuck's statement was, I like chocolate cake with sprinkles. Yes, it's long. You can throw caps in here and there where you want. But he said he would do, I like chocolate cake, Chase, with sprinkles. Because that was the password he said, use that for your Chase banking. Well, okay. Because when you put it in there, yeah, it's a lot of letters, but it's truly secure. His suggestion was, don't use a phrase like to be or not to be. Because that's a very easy one for a password generator, a password system to try to crack. Because it's a phrase out of a famous story. Okay, so you don't want to use that. You don't want to use common quoted phrases as well. Alphanumeric is your best friend in the entire world. Because you're using a combination of letters and numbers. If you ever had to reset your Apple ID password, this is where it pushes you to. It wants one uppercase letter, it wants one lowercase letter, and it wants at least one numeral, and you can add special characters if you'd like. Minimum of 8 characters for that password. I've had people come in and they set up their password so long ago, and it was just 4 characters. And Apple won't allow that anymore. It is forcing people, they're going through their systems, and if they come up on someone that the password's only 4 characters, they don't know what the password is, but they know it's only 4 characters. And so those people are told, you need to update your password before you can go further with anything else. You want to go and download a song on iTunes? Nope, got to update your password. You want to make sure your iCloud backup's working? Nope, you got to update your password. And that's why they've gone to this alphanumeric situation, to make it harder, not for you, but for the people that are trying to guess your password. Ooh.
What about case sensitive?
That's where the uppercase letter comes in, and so you have to make sure that you know where that is.
Where?
And exactly. I mean, most people when they do their password, the first letter is usually the capital letter. That's what most people do because it's easy. I look at people and say, make the second letter a cap. It's harder, but it gives you more security. Dan?
One of the things that I would do is I'll take your first suggestion word, pick a phrase that makes sense to me, but only use the first letter of each word, and then mix in caps and characters and numbers that kind of suit that.
Yeah, and that's a good idea. If you can mix it up, you're now in the secure land. If you make it easy, if it's easy for you, it's easy for somebody trying to guess it. And that is the whole point of this, is not to be easy. You want it to be difficult for somebody else, and these are options to do it. So, everyone that has an iPhone, raise your hand. Everyone that has had an iPhone raise your hand if you had an iPhone 4 or 4S. Not now, but at any time. Okay. Raise your hand if you had an iPhone 5 or 5S. Okay. Raise your hand if you had an iPhone 6. Okay. All of us probably had a 4-digit passcode to unlock the phone at some point in time. Now Apple wants you to have a 6-digit.
Or,
Why do they want a 6-digit code? There are other options for your passcode to unlock your phone, but why do they want a 6-digit? 4 worked just fine for me. Right, because with 4 digits, you only have 10,000 combinations. With 6 digits, you have 1 million. Okay, that makes it a lot better. You can also customize your passcode to be a word, to be alphanumeric. That's an option. If you're on, I believe it's iOS 9 or higher. Yeah, you can change your password and make it as customizable as you want, which in my line of work, when we're repairing a phone, we really don't want to know the person's password, because trust me, you really don't want to know. And if it's an alphanumeric one, something like that, it's hard. We're so used to punching these numbers and we're in. And you get that and it just stops you dead in your tracks, because that's what it's supposed to do. So it is an option if you want to set it up that way under passcodes option. If you get out of it and try to go back in, it gives you the different options you can choose. If you want to use a 4-digit passcode, it's still there. You can do it. You just have to, under options, go into it. But you're better off going with the 6-digit. And may I personally advise everyone in this room, please do not use your birthday, because that's the easiest 6 digits you'll ever come up with when you think about it. Okay, there we go. But that's just not safe. You know, the whole idea of having a passcode is you're locking everyone else out. That's really the bottom line. Lou?
Like, what was the one not too terribly long ago when they had this one terrorist that got killed, and he had his iPhone, and they tried to get into the 4 digits, and they went through the whole, they had to send it to Israel to get it taken care of.
That, yeah, so.
Of course, they limited the number of tries.
Right, because if you try the same passcode 10 times, you have a disabled device. You can set it.
Only if you press that, only to set the button to do that.
No, if you try the wrong passcode 10 times, it locks you out for 5 minutes. If you press the button to disable the phone and erase it, that's what they were trying to avoid.
Right.
They didn't want, somebody had tried a couple and they didn't want to go any further, because if it was set up to do that, then it would just, 10 times, okay, device gets wiped. A lot of government employees, some people high up in big corporations, that's on their phones by default. I believe the Oakland County Sheriff he came into Somerset one time and asked, how do I encrypt all this, because I'm now working with Homeland Security? Okay, so we showed him every security feature we could find, and he enabled it on his computer, on his iPad, on his iPhone, didn't even know about it. And then we're like, well, you're backing up your computer, right? Yes, he was. He was backing it up with Time Machine. Was it encrypted? Is now. So that's, again, there's another reason for making sure you've got a good secure password. The company that went through that phone, they still haven't said how they were able to do it, but the last time I looked, they said they found absolutely nothing that they could use on that phone. And I believe they said they spent $600,000 to go there. And Apple did not work with them on that because that starts a slippery slope. And that was their viewpoint on it. Let's not start this, because if we give this to the good guys, how hard is it for the bad guys to get it?
They'll typically get an understanding of it before the good guys do.
Yeah, typically, yeah. So that's why that level of security is there from day one. They start there. Yep. And then special characters are good to have in a password, as long as you remember what they are and where you put them. So a lot of people will use a pound sign, or they'll use the ampersand, the @ sign, and different things along there, just for that special character to be in there, just enough to throw things off. I did see one person that had a smiley face in their password. It was like, okay, that's pretty interesting. You just,
the right one, because they're all different.
right, well, it wasn't an emoji, it was just using the keyboard style. But she had it where it was a smiling face. And, oh, that's pretty neat. So, minimum of 8 characters, more is so much better for safety's sake. And then there's password generators. There are a lot of programs that will allow you to generate a password. If you've ever been to a website through Safari and you've logged in and you've created a user account on that site, Safari will suggest a password. And it's typically one that makes no sense at all. And it'll ask you, do you want to use this? If you say yes, Safari will drop that password in the password field for you, and it will remember that password for you on your device. And that's where the iCloud keychain comes in, which has its good points and its bad points for that. Calvin?
2 things. Just the password generation by Safari, does that drop it also in the keychain on your Mac?
It is supposed to do that in the newest versions of the operating system. So I believe if you're on 10.11 or higher, it should do that. If you've got iCloud keychain enabled already on that device, it'll grab it and save it.
And then the second question, where does, since we're talking about phones so much, where do you figure in the fingerprint identification with passwords, or is that a separate issue?
That's, so the question of fingerprint identification on the iPhones, or say even an iPad, where does that come into for safety on your device, and where is that stored? So your fingerprint is stored on that device only. It does not get backed up in iCloud. It will not get backed up in iTunes. It is on the device itself. That sensor grabs that. It doesn't actually grab your fingerprint. What it does is it creates a mathematical equation of your fingerprint and saves that. So instead of a picture of your thumb, it's a bunch of 1s and 0s that goes on there. So that's where it is.
If you're on Safari filling in a password and you check the box that says remember me, that stores the password right there on your iPhone. Isn't that a little bit of a danger too? Because if anybody gets a hold of your phone, they got all your passwords.
If they can get into your phone.
Rule of thumb, never store a password.
Yeah.
So, in other words, never use the remember me?
No, you can use the remember me because it'll remember it, and if you have iCloud keychain turned on, that's where it'll store it. It'll put it up there. Now, on your computer, it'll want to move it to keychain access, which will then talk to iCloud keychain. So the passwords are there. But if somebody can get into your device, then yeah, they're in.
I never store password.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Now,
Because of that very thing, if they do get in, it's free reign.
right. So if you make it hard for them to get in, okay, you're halfway there. You're more secure. If it's very easy to get into your device, then yeah, somebody could have free reign on going through the system if they have the right tools. Unlike the movies and television, it's not as easy as, oh, let me plug it in and run this and boom, all right, I got it, and off it goes. No, it takes like hours or days. It's never that 30 seconds. That's just Hollywood. Yes, ma'am.
A few years ago, Terry recommended 1Password.
Yes.
That's what I use. Is that okay?
It is a fantastic program.
It's a generator.
Yeah, that's one of the features of 1Password is it does have a password generator built into it. And it's an encrypted software. So we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. Yes?
Question and a thing on security. It says do not use the special characters next to each other.
Let me explain that. Let me back up. Okay, see the top row? That's all the special keyboard, the special characters right next to each other. That's what I meant. So if you're going to use special characters, space it. Thank you for bringing that up.
And then in terms of security, I think it's MIT, there's a professor there that's been doing studies, and they've been able to find models, of which there are only 6 major models for fingerprints, and they've been able to get into various systems that are based on fingerprints.
Right? Okay. So that's why Apple went with taking your fingerprint into a mathematical equation. Because if your thumb and my thumb were very similar, that mathematical equation is not going to be. So that's the beauty of that one. Yes?
You know, this sounds silly, but I tried to change the password on my Safari account, and I couldn't figure out how to change my password. I didn't know where to go in.
On Safari?
Yeah, how do I go in there and say, you only want to change my password?
Safari doesn't have a password.
Is there a website on Safari?
Is it a website that you were using Safari and going to some certain website?
No, when I'm at school or something, I have a password.
For an
Well, I'm
email?
sorry, my Yahoo.
For your Yahoo. Okay. So if your password for your Yahoo account isn't working,
It's working, I wanted to change it, and I didn't know
Okay.
where to go in to change it. I know that sounds silly, but I couldn't figure it out.
you would log into your Yahoo account, it's like your email. And then you can go into settings, and there'll be, in the settings under your account, there's a spot for you to change your password. And it'll have you type in your current password and allow you to make it a more difficult one. Which, since you're using Yahoo, I highly, highly, highly recommend you do that, because of the 2.6 billion accounts that were compromised last year, half of them were through Yahoo. And that was not once, but twice in the past 18 months, Yahoo has been breached. And names and passwords, whether they were hashed passwords or full passwords, were caught. So a hash password is ... So they know, oh, it's that many characters.
Can you talk about Facebook? Because I just heard on the radio, take your birthday off of Facebook. And here's the other thing. I get people wanting to friend me, and usually I'll go on the picture to see if they have any friends. Well, this last time they had some friends, and then he messaged me right away and said, can I have your phone number? And then Facebook cut them right out.
Well, that was a fake ID, it was somebody who's.
Right.
One of those duplicated IDs that pretended to be your friend, but they really were
That's
copies.
what I'm saying, there's so many of them, and I'm afraid to accept them.
Don't
No, what?
accept them.
Very friends with
No, no, friends.
If it's not a, if,
No, these are people I know.
no, what's going on is people are mimicking other people. So I'm gonna be friends with Calvin. Okay, Calvin and I are friends on Facebook. Cool. I'm gonna be friends with you on Facebook. All right. Somebody spoofs Calvin and tries to be friends with you.
Exactly. So
And be vigilant and make sure it's them. Never accept one right off the bat.
how do you make sure it's them? I went on their face and I checked. to
So
see-
they go and they take, the person that spoofed Calvin took his picture, threw it up on their thing. They grab a couple of things, they create a site, and what they do is, it says Calvin Carson, but they put 2 spaces between Calvin and Carson. Because that way it's not the same Calvin Carson.
But this person had pictures of friends of Calvin.
Yes, they steal those pictures and they put them up on their Facebook. Or they get, unfortunately, they get people like you who go, oh, okay, I know this person. And they friend them and suddenly they're on the friends thing. And it's not really them. And all they're looking to do is 1, get your email address. 2, contact you and give me your phone number. Because then you're going to start the real scam of, we're with the IRS, you owe us a lot of money, we need to be paid by 4 o'clock today, I need you to go and pick up gift cards at Western Union and send them to this address. Or the iTunes gift card thing. So I'm not going to talk any more about Facebook because it's horrible. I have Facebook, yes. MacGroup Detroit has Facebook. But people on Facebook are horrible, just like people in real life are horrible. Luckily, everybody in this room is wonderful. So that's where we're going to go with this. But as far as we're done with Facebook for now. Okay? Thank you. All right. So, password managers. There are a lot of them out there. Some of these this is a list of free password managers. Okay? Now, free password managers, you get what you pay for. Just keep that in mind. Now, are some of them good and legit? The ones that have paid versions? Usually yes. Free is pretty much a light version of their full program because they want you to buy it. So if you want more features, like multiple devices, okay, you're going to have to pop into it. So, of these here, going from left to right, these are the free ones that in my research I found that are highly rated. LastPass is probably hands down the very best one on the free world. LastPass. The next one is Log Me Once. It's very good as well. Tons of features. Following by 1U Password Manager. It is free in the iTunes Store. So you can log into the App Store and you can download it and you can use it. But it won't let you import from a previous password program. It won't fill in web forms. It won't do multiple form filling identities. The actionable password strength report is not available. So it won't tell you how strong your password is. And then it won't do browser menu of logins or applications passwords. It does have secure sharing, which is good, but it doesn't give you a digital legacy where you can go back and see what your password was before. NPass password, I couldn't find out enough information about them to go either way with it. It seems to be okay. They're not promising you the world, but just like the 1U password, they're limited on a larger scale compared to LastPass or LogMeOnce. The KeyPass software, my understanding is the new version is much better than their older versions. So take that as your mileage may vary. I wasn't overly impressed with their stuff before and not really overly impressed with their stuff now. But for free, if that's what you want, okay. There's another one called OneID that again is free. It is severely limiting on what it can do for you. So these are all options. If you want to try something out, you can try them all out and see how they look, see how the interface is. Most of these on the right side are a little on the clunky side. And then surprise, surprise, Symantec Norton has identity safe. I had no idea that they were getting into the password management field, but it's not really a surprise. I've never been a fan of Norton or Symantec when they were separate or together. So at this point, your mileage may vary. A lot of the ones on the right side of this, while they won't let you sync across multiple devices, if you only have one device that you're looking to do a password manager on, okay, there you go. And some of the other ones are requiring that you use third-party plugins, which come at a cost. So you've got to pay for those plugins. So free suddenly goes from, well, it's not really free. Now I've got to spend a couple of bucks here, a couple of bucks there to get some of the features you want. If you're spending money, then it probably would make more sense to start looking at the next group of managers, which are the paid ones. Jim?
Yeah, you made it very clear that you need to understand your business purpose. If you're really worried about just securely remembering stuff, then a free one might work.
Sure.
And in fact, Apple's already given you a free one. It's called a file on an encrypted disk image.
True.
Which you can do with text edit. And that's probably, for just remembering things, that's probably about as good as you can do cost effective.
Sure.
If you need to have interface to your browser and automatic loading of your credit card numbers into a web form and that kind of thing, now you're ready for the next part of the presentation.
Yep. So, the paid programs. I have had 1Password. I actually got it because of where I work for free. So I thought, oh, this is cool. And I've played around with it and I like it. Terry recommended the 1Password. And what I took away from his presentation, he recommended it because not only will it store your passwords and help you create passwords, it will also store your serial numbers. So, you need to reinstall some software, and you need to look for that 25-digit code, but I have no idea where that box is. You can enter it in 1Password, and it'll keep track of that. It also keeps track of your credit cards if you want to put your credit cards in there. Which leads to the question, well, if I put my credit card in there, how safe is it? 1Password has never been hacked into the whole time they've been out, which is probably 10 years. So that's a really, really good thing. But moving left from right, this is, on this site that I found, this is what they suggested in order of the best to really good. I didn't bother bringing in the other ones that were below 3.5 stars on their 5-star rating, because you got plenty of options right here. So the first one is Dashlane. Dashlane has been just getting all kinds of great publicity about being really, really good password management software all the way around. The only thing they don't do currently is application passwords. Brian?
Dashlane has been up for free for some time now.
Right, they also have a paid version.
Okay.
And the paid version gives you all their bells and whistles, where the free version, that's where a lot of the third-party plugins came into play. So, with that being said, that software is $39.99. So for $40, you got a piece of software that will do everything you want across all your devices and give you that peace of mind that, oh geez, I need to change this password. What am I going to use? Oh, this will let me do it.
One time or 40 a year?
One time.
No, a year.
That's a year? Okay. Great.
I can't read it, it's not clear. What is the name?
Dashlane.
Dashlane?
Yes, Dashlane. We will make sure that these are all in the recap email that gets sent out. So, just in case. The next one is LastPass, which has a free version, which is really good for a free version. Their paid version is $12 a year. The Log Me In Once is $39. It too is on the rating system for these. The first two are rated 5 stars. Log Me In Once is rated 4 3/4. So it's almost as good, but the review that they did, they're like, we can't quite give it 5 stars, but it's darn close. Sticky Password Premium, they're running, I believe it's normally $20 a year, but they're running a special currently at $14.99. It too got rated 4.5 stars, and that was, we have ants. That was due to, it doesn't offer digital legacy, so it won't let you see what your old passwords were. If you've changed them, it won't give you that option. And then the secure sharing feature is not available on that one. Keeper Password Manager and Digital Vault is $30 a year. They gave that a 4-star, but the person doing the review on it was not overly impressed. They thought the features were good, but they thought it, for what it could do, it should do better. They thought it was a little clunky with the interface. And the same thing with Password Boss Premium. 1Password, you can purchase the software for $35.88. However, at the beginning of the year, they started offering a subscription service for either a single user, a family of 5, or for a work situation, which I believe is, I think it was 10, and then you can add on additional groups of 10 if you have more employees than that as well.
You've already got the 1Password, you paid the money, you have to keep paying, or are you there?
No, if you've already purchased the full program, it's yours. That's that. But the subscription plan is for the people that perhaps they want to try it out. I believe it's $2.99 a month for a single user to have that. The beauty of 1Password, You only need to remember one password.
Yeah.
That password gets you into their site. That's that. Where everything else then is there listed for you, so you have access to all those other passwords. They've been around such a long time, and I think it's such a really good company. Yes, ma'am?
I have a good login code.
Okay.
My son changed it to 4 symbols, or 4 letters. And I said, but that's easy. So what about a password for 1Password to get to it? You could put just 3 numbers or whatever.
You can.
Yeah, but
You can, and that's where you can make it as easy as you want or as hard as you want.
is it safe that way?
I would say no.
I would say so as well.
Yeah.
It scares me every time I go in.
So why haven't you changed it to something else?
Yeah, I'm going to.
Okay. All right. You just haven't got there yet. Okay. Fantastic. Because if you have it that simple, that's just going to be, it's not a good thing. Yeah. I take them out of the will at this point for changing that. Yeah. There are some other ones. RoboForm. It's got a ton of features, but they said the interface for using the program was like trying to talk to a robot. It just was really, really awkward. Same thing with TrueKey by Intel Security, and then the Zoho Vault. So these were the ones that nothing went below 3.5 stars on their ratings, but honestly, if you're asking my opinion, my suggestion would be you have 3 choices that I would recommend. 1Password is my favorite. However, Dashlane is amazing and would probably be as good a solution as 1Password. And then LastPass would be just as good, I think, as well. So you've got 3 very solid choices to go from. But again, this is something that I highly recommend that you visit their website and decide what works best for you. If you think it's clunky, then maybe look at a different one. Yes?
Where are they storing the information on your passwords? I assume it's encrypted.
Right.
On your device, or are they storing them in their own cloud?
So they're storing them in their own cloud.
Okay, so what happens when you decide you don't want to renew your subscription? Where does that information go?
My understanding is if you don't renew your subscription, poof, they delete it.
Sure.
Which would suck if you're in the hospital for 3 months and then suddenly you come back out because you didn't pay your bill, you don't have access to anything. But my understanding is 1Password you can get a hold of them and they can get you back. So while it's encrypted, I gotta believe that they keep it for a certain set of time. I just don't know what that set time is. But my understanding is if you stop using the service after X number of days or weeks or months, they just flush it.
Is that O and E password or number 1? And then the word password?
I'm sorry?
Is that O and E password or the numeral?
It's the numeral 1 password. The software company is Agile Bits. They make this. Okay. Can you see this? If no one can see this, let me know and I'll be happy to read it out loud. Okay. Okay. So other uses for a strong password. This is from the Big Bang Theory TV show. And one character, Penny, is saying, "Hey Sheldon, did you change your Wi-Fi password again?" And his response is, "Yes, it's Penny, get your own Wi-Fi." No spaces. I have had so many people come in saying, my Wi-Fi is not working at home. Okay, well, who's your provider? Well, I don't have a provider. I use the network from the neighbors. Oh, can you get in? Because they put a lock on it. No, I can't. And that's it. But then again, I'm sure if you've gone to a Panera, a Starbucks, a Big Boy, McDonald's, you've seen somebody on a computer or on an iPad there, I would assume. There used to be joke photos on the internet of some guy at Panera with a 27-inch iMac on the table, plugged in, because he was using their Wi-Fi. Okay, you know, you're like, why would you lug that into a Panera? But, well, there's free Wi-Fi.
He likes the food.
I hope he likes the food. So that's where that is. So at this point in time, this is a question for everyone.
Yes.
Okay, why?
Makes the insurance good.
You don't want people getting in your house, right? Okay. How many keys do you have to your house?
3.
Is that the same key in every lock? Okay, because it's secure. So, something that I wanted to bring up during the home automation, which is going to take just a second. There are new lock systems that you can get that have the Bluetooth, so when you walk up, it unlocks your door because it knows your phone's on you. There's also a keypad on there, so you can punch the keys in. The best thing that I found with the Schlage locks is you can program that, so if you're not home and you've got a work person coming over to do plumbing or painting or something, you can issue them a temporary code, program it to that lock, and they can use it for as long as you let them have it. So it could be for one day, it could be for a week. And that allows those people that you trust to get into your house. So if you're on vacation and your gutter's half hanging off and it's running water into that window you forgot to shut, and your neighbor calls you, you can say, okay, this is the code. Get in the house and close the window. Okay, cool. So that's a huge feature right there for having security, because no one else can get in otherwise.
One of the guys I work with does not have a code on his phone, and I suggested that he put one.
Sure.
He says, why? There's nothing on my phone that's personal. I don't do any banking on it.
Okay.
He says, why should I put a code on my phone? So what's a good answer for that? He says, there's nothing personal on my phone.
So how about I use his email account to send spam out? I'm in on his phone. He's got no lock. I'm going to start sending spam out under his account. You know what? I'm going to start downloading porn on his phone. And I'm going to download the kind that people should be in jail forever for. That would be my answer to him. Yes, you have no pictures on here that you're embarrassed of. None at all. You have no phone numbers on here. Well, how would you like if somebody was calling up from your phone saying, hey, I'm in jail. Can you help get me some bail money? Or taking all the emails in your phone and all the phone numbers in your phone and then selling them off to a telemarketing firm. Tell him it's his option. He doesn't have to have a passcode on his phone. But if bad things happen, it's his fault. And if he can live with that, okay. That's why I think you should have a passcode on the phone.
What does it take? An extra 2 seconds?
Right. And if he has a phone with a fingerprint reader, okay. Your argument is invalid at this point, sir. And that's what I would tell him, because he's not using any common sense. I don't think. Okay. So, again, having a good, strong password is like having the house locked up. It's safety, it's secure.